Hello, you lovely lot. I haven't recorded a video in some time, so I thought I'd give you an update. I deleted the last one because I felt I was getting a bit manic. Um, it's been a crazy few months. Obviously, I'm going to talk about mental health and the things that have recently gone on. So we'll start in November. I'm not going to fully go into details because I don't want to bring up stuff that I'm sort of getting over and sort of healing from. But last November, I got myself in trouble twice. I'm accountable for a few of the actions that I caused in some of these, incidences, and a few of them are very fabricated. Um, I've noticed a lot recently, especially where I spent a lot of time on my own. So about 3 years ago, I was at this girl. It didn't end very well. Um, it completely it completely changed my whole perspective and the way I sort of engage and sort of put myself out there with people. Um, I don't really socialize a lot anymore, and I know that we do this, as we get older, as we become more adult, like as we get into our more adult life, and having the obstacles and um, busiest routines that we all have as we get older. Now, I still haven't got back into work because physically I'm able, but mentally I'm not. Mentally, as I said 3 years ago, this girl changed my whole perspective of how I interact with people. So being in large groups of people isn't for me anymore. Um, Obviously, trusting people's a big thing for me. I don't socialize to the point where I go out and get drunk and do the old things that I used to, because I think I used to do it just to, let my hair down, but also to block out how I felt. Because I live with three different diagnoses. I live with bipolar, type 2, I live with EUPD, also known as borderline personality disorder, and also PTSD, complex PTSD. For you that aren't familiar with my story, um, I lost my mum to suicide when I was young. I basically looked through the letterbox and I saw my mum's lifeless body there. Um, Obviously, I'm not going to fully repeat it, but if you want the full story, you can type into Google James Parkinson Folkestone, and two news articles will come up explaining the full details of how I found my mum, how my mum died. She hung herself. Obviously, it tells you the full insight. This was from about almost 6 years ago. Next month, it'll be 6 years ago since one of the articles made viral and made local news, which I'm not gonna like brag about. I'm not gonna jump up and down because I'm a humble guy. I done that. I done that article to help other people with mental health struggles to speak out, and this was during lockdown. So when you know everyone's sort of thrown off of their usual routine because we were all in it together. This is a point I actually wanted to bring into this. I think since lockdown, people should have been taught to look after each other, to be kind to one another. People since lockdown have become the most self-centered, soulless, heartless people I've ever met. And I'm not saying everyone, but the people I've come across are very self-centered and very soulless and very heartless. They only care for themselves. And I don't do these videos, these mental health videos, to blow my own trumpet, to get likes, to get views. I don't care about that. I'm just being as real and authentic as I can because there's not many real or authentic people in this world left. This is why I don't use social media. I'm not taking pictures of myself. Look at me. Look at my muscles. Look at my body. Like men and females do. Male and females do this. All for clout, all for attention. Yeah, some people might do it for memories and go, "Oh yeah, look at me back here and look at me now." Fair play, but it's not for me. As God says, as I've read this beautiful thing, it says God covers the most wonderfulest treasures deep, and that basically means just because you go flaunt yourself doesn't mean that you're attractive. It doesn't mean that you're better than everyone else. Society's got a weird way of how we want to expose ourselves to the outside world. But anyway, let's get back onto the topic of mental health. Um, so obviously, I like to isolate myself a lot. I get fed up of being around people for too long because I just feel like it's people just talk about other people, they moan about other people, they do all this, they do all that. I haven't got time for that. People just drain my energy, and it's not it's not good that I feel this way, but it's just something I've had to get used to. Yeah, I might play Xbox with my friends that are close. Yeah, I have close friends. I keep them very close to my chest. I can count them on one hand. Um, but I think, you know, people are just so fake. They're so two faced. They're just, and another thing I've learned as well recently is that you can tell a lot about someone by the way they treat someone, by if they've lost someone special, like either their parents, their family members. I've noticed a lot of people come cold and self-centered, and they only think of themselves. And this is why, I know it's going to sound bad, but I'm thankful that my mum done what she done when I was a kid, because I've not turned heartless. Yeah, I might get mood swings. Yeah, I might get days where I just want to, destroy things, or, do something that's not worth the time. But I never lost my caring heart. Yeah, my emotions might get the best of me because of my EUPD, and I'm not trying to make my EUPD an excuse. I've done therapy. I've done other therapeutic practices like group therapies, one-to-one therapies, um, and talking therapies, and other sort of therapies. And no matter how much trauma, no matter how much life throws at you, it's not going to go away. And the problem is, there's a lot of traumatized souls. There's a lot of people with mental health issues today that are undiagnosed. And I can see it. I can see it for myself. I can see like patterns of people's behaviors. Like when you're around them, I can sense that energy. Now, I'm not trying to be like, oh, I know it all and that. I'm just saying it because of my experiences. And I think it's very important that you do get yourself diagnosed with a mental health diagnosis if you suspect that you have one. Excuse me, because the amount of insight that I know on myself when I'm feeling unwell, sometimes it's uncontrollable. Sometimes when I'm really unwell, I will drink alcohol and alcohol and alcohol and alcohol, and then I cause havoc in this place. I cause havoc, or I cause havoc outside, or I do something that I later regret, which I've done many times. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I don't want to be perfect. There's only one perfect thing, and that's Jesus Christ. And thanks to Him, yeah, He calms my storms. Sometimes I pray to Him, I talk to Him, but He was the one that gave me this battle, and He knows that I am strong enough to deal with this battle. Now, I'm going to be very real because um, I got in trouble with the police in November for a few things. I don't want to fully go into it, but one of them was fabricated, and there's part of the story that is true. And I think the way people treat people in today's society is not good. To get someone involved in a fabrication like that is not good at all. Um, I feel that, these incidences were more of a cry for help, to get help, because in November, also, November last year was not a good month for me. 2 incidences with the police, 2 arrests, and also I tried to take my own life as well. I tried to, I tried to, well, I took my medication as an overdose, and it's not a nice feeling to feel that you feel worthless. And I'm not blaming because of, I'm not blaming other people for the way they treated me, because they should know better themselves. I'm not saying, oh, I demand respect, I demand this, I demand that. I'm not trying to say that. People have just forgot the simple things of etiquette and the way they talk to people. People become very awkward, and you know, You were given a mouth and a tongue to speak, to express yourself, to talk. Some people don't want to talk, and that's because of their traumas. That's because of what life's thrown at them. Yeah, I get like it too. This is why I feel more comfortable talking to a camera about my insight, about the things I know, because they're experiences that I learn myself. And yeah, maybe sometimes I don't produce the best reaction to people's actions. That's the thing. People want to judge you so much on your reaction, but not what that person caused you to react that way. And I think that's the thing with another thing about analyzing people and learning about people, and the way that I keep myself to myself. It's because a lot of people have narcissistic traits. They they always want to blame somebody else, but they never want to look at themselves and see, oh, hang on a minute, if I didn't treat him this way, maybe he wouldn't have reacted this way. But people don't want to think like that. They just think of their self-centered, self-pride, and self-loathing selves. And it's hard to deal with. It's hard. I don't really go out as much. I don't really like human beings. Not all, but I just don't like the way they treat other people, the way they, the way they carry themselves. Because it's all good being on social media, taking pictures of yourself, like, look at me, I'm vain, I'm this. It's vanity. Vanity's not going to get you nowhere. Yeah, it might get you a few likes and that might boost your ego a little bit, but that's not for me. I don't want to be part of that trend. Like, there's so much stuff on the internet, stuff on social media that is just so silly and so, like, it's not going to mean anything when you leave this world. When you leave this world, money, your views, your social media, your social reputation, your you know your looks, it's all going to leave you. And people just don't think to look inside themselves and go, hang on, even if I'm a good person, and I know I'm a good person, that should be far more worth than the way I look, the way I carry myself. Well, your character's important, but the way you look, the way you flaunt yourself all over social media, you know what I mean? It's so fabricated and so materialistic that people buy into it. Now, I'll be real, like, there's as I said, I don't really like to socialize, so I turned to dating apps. I met this lovely person, well, I thought was lovely on this dating app, and then they ended up doing me wrong. But dating apps are another thing as well. That I've noticed that, on dating apps it's full of damaged people. They're either trying to fill a void, obviously trying to make friends, or try and build a genuine connection. But most of the time, everyone is damaged on there. Everyone in this world is damaged in here. Is damaged here, and we've got bigger problems. Yeah, the world, the things that are going on in other parts of the world, bigger problems, but my problems seem massive to me because I'm the one that has to wake up with them every day. I'm not trying to play the victim, because I never played a victim. I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor of suicide. I'm a survivor of my mum who committed suicide, and I never used the victim mentality. Why me? Why this? Oh, you done this to me. People have done me wrong throughout my whole life. I've done people wrong myself, but that's down to their actions. My reaction, which is blamed, but their actions aren't blamed. They go under the carpet because they want to play the victim. If someone could just put their hand up and go, hang on, I'm accountable for this. I'm accountable for treating a person this way. I'm accountable for doing these things. Maybe the world would be a better place, because it's not a good place at the moment. And, we always say be kind to others. No one wants to be kind because they're too self-centered. But I'm telling you now, be kind to people, because you don't know what their problems are. You don't know what they've been through. And for people like me that have mental health, that are brave enough to speak about their experiences, about the incidents that they've been involved with, I deserve a pat on the back. And I'm not getting an ego boost. I don't feel a rush in my body when I say that. I'm just being genuine, because there's not many genuine people left. Now, my actions can get from 0 to 100, depending on how you treat me. It's not because, oh, I'm a crazy guy with 3 mental health diagnoses. It's the way you treat me. My reaction depends on the way your actions treat me. And I know that I should control them better, but it's very difficult when you're that kind of person that wouldn't do those things to that person. So let that sink in, and let you think about it. Now, sorry for rambling for 15 minutes, but sometimes I need to get things off my chest. Have a good day.